Hi, everybody, and welcome to the webcast with FitPro. I'm Teresa Wheatley, and I'm joined by my friends Holly and Endrit. I wanted to get under the hood of how they are both so successful in running their gym, and they're going to be doing their second year of their fitness event. So, Holly and Endrit, thank you for joining me today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I know you both are so busy, so thank you. What I have planned today is a load of questions on the insights and how they work so well together. So, shall we dig in to the first question?
Yes, let's go.
Let's go. This is
Let's
where
go.
they have to agree. They have to actually.
Yes.
All right. So, first things first, you guys wear a load of different hats. Your partners in life as husband and wife. You run a really successful business. And like I said earlier, you're in your second year of your fitness event. So, what's something about working together that people underestimate? Holly, over to you.
Um, I think possibly the your whole life just becomes one big kind of mess of the whole thing. There's definitely not. This is what we do at home. This is what we do at work. This is when we're wearing this hat and doing that. Your whole life just becomes the whole thing together, which might be a nightmare for some people, but actually, when you're both in it, you've got that level of understanding as well. So the long days, the calling to say, "Oh, I know I said I'd be back now, but actually it's going to be another hour." There's a bit more of understanding about that as well because you're in it together, which is quite nice. I think so anyway.
Understand. And also, you've got a shared passion. So, you're going to be able to understand each other and bolster each other. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
So, Endri, are you happy with her reply on that one?
Yeah, and I think obviously my background is being around sports and being part of a team. So I think doing things together as a team, it's more fun. And when you achieve the things together, to share it, that's the beauty of it. And also all the struggles when you go through it, then it's easier and better to have someone there. So I think it works well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
for the most
I love
part. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, probably, I'm guessing when you take those jumpers off, that you're not logoed underneath them. So at least you recognize each other as, not always in work mode, I'm
Oh no,
hoping.
no, we have this tattooed underneath. So it's there all the time.
I
It's
literally
there.
know because I've seen you out and about and we've danced together. And how do we dance together?
Shoulders,
Always
always
the
the
shoulders.
shoulders.
Always the shoulders. Anyway, if they're listening to the podcast, what a shame that they didn't see that absolute delight. All right. So if someone followed you around for a week, this is to you, Endreet, what would surprise them most about you, how you actually operate day to day? Any surprises?
I think because we've been in the industry for many years, I feel we are organized and everything runs smoothly. And because it's a small center and it's only a few of us, me, Holly, and then a few instructors coming in, they pretty much get on with it. We have the most important thing, we have a shared diary. If it doesn't go in the diary, then it doesn't happen. So as long as the diary is up to date, there shouldn't be any issues. So I think it varies from personal training to delivering classes to sometimes just having a catch up with clients. It's very flexible. There's no, I suppose, if you go to a big industry where you've got meeting after meeting and you've got to be there, you've got to meet clients there. Ours is very flexy and it runs itself after, it's been 4 years now. So we're quite proud of that. We don't have too many issues to deal with. The biggest issue is why have you not charged the iPad? Or
That's awful. Come on,
that,
why
Yeah,
yeah,
did you?
that's the biggest
yeah,
issue at the moment. And
yeah.
Holly forgets to charge the iPad, even though I'm the only one who uses it. But
Yes.
Ollie.
I think maybe
I
they'd be surprised at like how like serious we can sometimes be. Because when they see us in the class environment or personal training, very upbeat, very loud, kind of making jokes. And then sometimes actually what you're doing is invoicing. So there's it's that the ebb and flow through the day of us wearing the different business hats and sometimes having a serious conversation that's more about the finances or what's going out there and did we sort this and have we contacted that person. So I think if they follow us around, I think they definitely see different sides of who we are and what we're doing as well.
For me, what I think you have created is a culture, not a cult. You'd be pleased I didn't say that. A culture where it looks after itself, and that happens through good leadership. So, and I know you do that both so well, but please do charge the iPad in future, Holly. So let's get into the sort of partnerships dynamics because you're business partners and partners in life. So okay, when you disagree on a business decision, which I'm sure doesn't happen very often, what does that actually look like? And how do you resolve it without it spilling into home life?
I think that's probably something we got better at. I think if you'd have asked us this 10 years ago, we'd just been like, oh yeah, no, we just have big arguments about stuff. And then eventually it sorts itself out. I do feel like we're getting much better at saying, this is what I think we need to do, and this is why I think that. And then the other person might say, no, no, actually, yeah, I haven't thought about that. This, from my viewpoint, this is what that decision looks like, and this is why. And I think we're getting a bit better at thinking that decision doesn't need to be made now. It could wait a little bit, let's ruminate. And personally, I'm a bit of a control freak. And because I managed another facility before we opened, I was used to just having to make all the decisions and then running with it. And one thing I had to learn was not to do that, that I have to ask and kind of run ideas by. And sometimes I was guilty of that near at the beginning where I would decide that I was right with something and just do it. And it'd be like, hello, you
Yes.
didn't ask me. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think I've got a bit better at that?
Yeah,
Maybe not.
she's asking now, so I have the final say.
You have the final say. I love it. I love it. That's brilliant.
I think
So,
I
go on.
think because we work in big gyms and there's layers of line managers and senior managers and everything was very robotic. And sometimes I think staff, even staff that receptionists or gym instructors on the floor, they were scared to challenge because they were talking to a senior manager. Whereas with us, I think our job is to challenge each other and question each other because everything we do is for us. So everything that I would say Hollywood challenge me is for our best interest. There's no I don't like you, you don't like me, is will it work? And actually looking back, I've made decisions and it didn't work, you made decisions didn't work, or we made decisions and it worked. And again, I go back to the being in as a team and somebody's gonna is going to lose the ball and I'm there to get it back, or someone's going to drop the ball and you're there to just lift them.
Yeah. But I think possibly what you do additionally to this job probably helps you because I'm hearing you talk about team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So can
Yeah.
you just briefly say about what else you do and maybe what you've learned from that role and how you bring it into the gym and the event?
Yeah. Obviously, my background is in football and I've been coaching for over 15 years now. And I try and link a lot of things from football to kind of the business and life. And football is it's one of the sports that there's always superstars, but those superstars, they have a group of people around them that make them and help them to get to what they want to get. And same for us, I think we've got other instructors who deliver classes here. We've got members who they are part of the team. Without the members, it wouldn't be the empower that we know. And one of them might have a bad day, or I might have a bad day, and together as a team, the energy and the little comments and the little efforts help us cross the line. So I always try and link it.
Yeah, I love that. You saying team and those sort of almost a strategy towards it is such a valuable thing to bring to the gym. Now, I wanted to ask you then, Holly, with regards to including Endrit in your decision making. Well done on that. But I'm just curious about kind of and also you said that actually work life, home life can sometimes blur, which is natural because you work well together. But are there any sort of almost boundaries that you've set as a couple that we don't do this at this time? Or do you know what I mean? Is there anything, or is it just that you organically work well together because you've done it for such a long time? I'm curious because I think for some people they would have to be like, that it's now 5 o'clock, we don't talk about work. You've said that doesn't work for you, and so are there any other boundaries that you have set?
We try and do sort of like little phone ban type things, don't we? So like after a certain time at night, there should be no expectation if clients are messaging us that they would expect us to reply at that point. So that's kind of a little bit of a barrier that we've put where work can't physically contact us because this
Mm.
is bedtime basically. But also something that we put in place was like little mini breaks through the year because we're a 7 day business and we're physically working 7 days, whether it be physically here at Empower, whether I'm sorting stuff out for the fitness festival, we're 7 days. And so we decided, didn't we, that sort of like maybe once a quarter, we were going to put these little breaks in, and those breaks are for Holly and Endrit. They're not for Empower, they're not for Lancashire Fitness Festival. They're just for us to have a nice time together.
Yeah, love that. I love that. So do you think being a couple gives you actually an unfair advantage in business? Um, yeah, because you're like this
So
dynamic duo, aren't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because it matters. All your decisions matter, and I feel like we're making decisions together. I'm not asking permission, or then I'm not having to wait to hear back from somebody. And you're not like, oh, I think they've fallen out with me a bit because they didn't really like what I just said. It's a very different dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in any industry, when you're working with someone else, you always feel not threat, but are they
Mhm.
making that decision because they want to look better, or are they trying to undermine me? Are they trying to get the next promotion? For us, there's none of these because
Right.
everything we do, it goes in the same pocket, in the same pot, um, and there's no threat. I think we're very different, the way we deliver our classes, our personalities, but the target is the same. We want Empower to be successful, and every decision we try and make and run it between each other is for the same purpose.
Yeah, I love that. When you first met, did you think you'd be running a business together?
No.
I don't know. All I had was my motorbike, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to run with a motorbike, and
Yeah. It
Holly jumped on the back.
was just the fit lad with the motorbike. I didn't even know if I liked him. I just knew I liked his motorbike.
And now we all love him.
And now look at us.
I've
I
lost the
now look at
motorbike.
you. Now look at you. Right. So leading me on to my next question. So Empower HQ and your festival have
Yeah.
blown up in the fact that, you know, it there's you're in your second year. We're going to get to the event in a short amount of time, but I want to know what's something that you think you might do differently to other gym owners or event kind of creators that's really driven that success.
I think maybe what we do a lot is we listen to people. So we
Mm,
have our ideas about what we think works. And when we first opened, that's kind of how we did it. We implemented what we thought would work. But our timetable has changed so much in the years that we've been open because we've looked at numbers and we've listened to people and said, look, it's your site. This is where you come. What do you want? And with the Lancashire Fitness Festival, again, it was yes, it was us that organised it, but we had 100 people around us helping to organise it because it was all the presenters that we contacted, it was brands, and it was the people that were going to come, and our members helped to create the timetable because we basically said, if we're creating this fitness festival, what would you like to see? If you were going to go to this sort of event, what type of thing would you want to see, and what sort of food do you want to eat, and what sort of music do you want at the night time? And we're two brains, and what's better than two brains is three or four or five or 100. And I think we listen, and we've listened again. So Lancashire Fitness Festival is going to be slightly different this year based on some feedback we collected last year. And we're constantly changing stuff at Empower HQ on a daily, monthly basis based on what our clients are telling us.
yeah. And what I find remarkable about both of you, you're both very successful, and I admire what you do, but you're both very humble and you are open to hearing and receiving things. And what that does is, what I talked about the culture that it creates earlier. It creates something safe for people, and people want to be part of that. And that's how you got, I reckon, so many amazing top presenters and so many people wanting to get in on the event because they trusted you, that you both were directing it in the right way. And even though this is business, it feels not like business because it feels like you're doing it for the kind of the greater good and stuff. So
Mhm.
well done, you two. I approve. So have you made right? So I'm sort of someone who doesn't make risky decisions. I sort of I'm a bit too scared to make risky decisions, right? So I'm curious about you guys. Have you ever made any risky decisions that have then paid off massively, or do you, a bit like me, sort of calculate how it might go down? Don't know.
I think Empower HQ was, well, you can call it a risky decision, but also it was a decision that we were kind of pushed towards. And sometimes either life kind of pushes you into that situation where you have to go for it. Or other times where I think, the way I see it, I always say, take a risk. And if it doesn't work, I can always go back to my mom and dad. That's what the worst thing's gonna happen. I'll go back to my mom and dad. So that's me saying to my brain, there's a safe option. Don't worry. But if I look back into my life, everything is a risk. So I'm used to looking at my parents moving from Albania to Greece. That was a risk. Me going from Greece to England. That was a risk. Uh, so maybe I'm a little bit more of a, let's say, brave. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say I'm brave and kind of just throwing myself out there. But with regards to Empower HQ, even though it seemed as a risk, I think we did have over 10 years experience working in the industry. So even though it was a risk of taking over a building and making it look nice and getting the equipment, but the actual delivering of the service, that wasn't a risk because I felt we were very good at that. We made other gyms successful. We made a lot of money for other people. So I'm thinking we can do it. So yes, it was risky, but at the same time, we're quite confident that we had a base, we had customers that, I mean, there were people driving half an hour to go to Holly's classes. And I remember during COVID, we were outside on the concrete and there were, 25 people doing group power outside in the rain. So you're thinking, right,
Yeah.
we've got people around us that believe in us. Let's just
Yes.
do it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
calculated risk. I think it's always going to be a risk, but we'd calculated it a little bit, hadn't we?
I mean, risk is risk. You
Yeah.
can calculate it.
I mean, we both quit our jobs, so it had
Yeah.
to work. Like
Yes.
Endrit said, life drives you. We weren't sort of enjoying what we were doing, so we both left, both jobless, and thought there's never going to be a good time to do this. But now is probably as good as it's ever going to be, and we have to make it work because we've got a cat to support. So
You do,
yeah,
Hercules. I'm
yes,
disappointed he's not here today. Can I just
He's
say
busy.
that?
He's busy.
very busy
He's busy. What is he cleaning the gym kit?
with his tongue.
So, Holly, let's talk about you've won quite a few awards. I wanted to pick your brain, particularly about those awards, um, and find out why you think you won so many blinking awards. What are the judges seeing in what you do? The reason I'm asking that is because there are so many worthy winners, aren't there? Of course, and people doing amazing things for the industry and for each other. But what do you think you're doing that means? Are you bribing them? Is what I want to know.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Is there any sort of secrets to your success, would you say?
I think some of it just solely lies in putting yourself forward for things. So a lot
Right.
of these a lot of these awards and prizes and things like that, you have to have either been nominated or you nominate yourself or you have to put in an application form or something. So my biggest piece of advice to somebody is put yourself out there. Because if you don't believe you're worthy of an award, who the heck else is going to give you an award? And I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, because you've won that award, you are hands down categorically the best PT the world's ever seen for 2025. But it means in that moment, in that one set of awards with that one set of judges, they saw something in you that they really liked. So you have to get yourself in the awards to start with. And then what I like to think that people see is authenticity.
Yeah.
That sort of, we are what we are, we do what we do, we try really hard, but we're both very qualified. And I think now in a world where you could do a level 3 PT course in like 4 weeks or something ridiculous online, and some people might do that and still be brilliant, but I suspect there's a lot of people qualifying and doing shortcut versions of things. Whereas I did a full degree and I've done CPD and I've done 2 master's degrees and I like learning and I enjoy it. It's about bettering yourself. And I think that becomes impressive when then somebody can read all the things that you've done to better yourself. So yeah, put yourself forward for things and never stop learning. Like, be impressive when somebody asks you about things.
Absolutely. And I always go with this having a curious mindset. So for me, you know, I've been in the industry a long, long time. My goodness, I'm learning all the time. And it's so refreshing. And that keeps you don't want to be stale, do you? And you want to, I have a bit of a hashtag, which is always learning. And I don't want to stop that. And I know that you guys invest in yourselves, in your education, and that really shows in what you create. Can we talk about the Lancashire Fitness Festival, please, you two?
Yes, please.
Good. Right. We already talked about the fact that you took on some feedback from year one. Year one, you did amazingly. So, can I ask what the biggest lesson you both learned from year one that you're going to now sort of bring into year two?
I think variety was a big one. So we did that very well in year one, but we were sort of not, I wouldn't say reduced timetable, but it's year one. So you don't want to have 20 sessions running at the same time and then one person in each one. But we've been able to add on to that, haven't we, in year two? We've got some different presenters, some different brands, different types of workouts that we didn't have in year one. So that's amazing. And it's also very helpful this year because we had the venue secured already. We had all the vendors, the marquee company, the sound people, they all wanted to be involved again for year two. And so that was good because that kind of took a little bit of heat off, didn't it? We learnt that they were good in year one. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. We're going to use them again in year two.
Absolutely, absolutely. Earlier, you were mentioning about kind of almost like behind the scenes, and that people might not expect that you actually have to do admin and stuff like that. So, what do you think that somebody might be surprised to learn is behind the kind of creation of an event such as the Lancashire Fitness Festival? Festival. I've done it again. Do you remember I said that earlier? Festival. Yes, go on. Tell me some things that people might be surprised of in creating something like that.
I think obviously people see the finished product, they see the colors, the music, the people turning up. But I think when you look behind the scenes, the thing that you would even consider like looking around for some insurance, looking around for parking signs, or obviously the hours and hours that Holly spends on contacting and confirming, and maybe somebody cancels and then reconfirming. So all those little things, I think year two is going to be a lot easier because you already done a year one. And again, I think it goes back to the year one be the risk and putting something together, people questioning, and actually after what was a year one, now year two, people approaching us and like, can I be part of it? I heard a lot about it. I missed out because I was unsure what it was going to look like. Whereas now we have a little bit of evidence, pictures, videos, feedback from people, and the behind the scenes. I feel there's still a lot of work to be done, but it's more of just adding instead of just creating something from scratch.
And actually, one of the amazing presenters that we had last year, Esther White from Power Hoop, she actually said something to me which stuck with me and has actually really driven this year. And she said, I feel like you didn't create an event. I feel like you've created a movement. And it's a movement that people are really going to want to be part of because it felt like something special. And that kind of really took that to heart. And I really ran with it. And rather than thinking, or it's an event that people are attending, I was like, how can I make this feel like a movement then that people will just want to be drawn towards and they can't help themselves. They get FOMO if they're not part of it, they just want to come to it. So that's really helped to drive us actually this year.
Lovely. It's that they have to be involved, isn't it? That's the key thing that, they will miss out if not. So in creating that in year one, Holly, was there a moment when you just had that, or several moments of those wow moments? I can't believe this is kind of happening and it's all come together. Was there a standout moment?
But for me, it was because it runs the Saturday and the Sunday. The Friday was manic because we were on site, we were setting it all up, like Endrit said, like putting parking signs out and like building things, and it was a bit mental. And then the Saturday morning, like we're there really early and you stood at your little reception table being like, please turn up everybody that's bought tickets. And so I was sort of at the reception desk area helping with the wristbands. I have a little team of helpers, and session one was kind of already started. I had someone in two of the rooms and I sort of missed a little bit of that. And then session two, I was like, right, most people have registered. I'm going to leave you girls on the table now. I'm going to have a little wander. And so session two had started. I had something going on in the sports hall. I had something in the smaller studio and something outside on the festival stage. And I just walked around taking a little bit of footage. And I just started getting a bit teary-eyed because I thought it's actually happening. Because we were sort of swept up in the whirlwind of organising it and planning it. And I just like walked from one zone to the other doing a little live video, just getting all misty-eyed, being like, we planned it and people came and they're all here and sessions are running and everybody looks like they're having a good time and all the sound systems are working and the lights are all flashing and people are buying beverages. And I was like, it's actually, we did a thing and the thing is now here.
That's incredible. Yeah, absolutely. I'm guessing lots of people would love to be able to create a movement like this. We know there's some amazing events that already go on. There's not a huge amount, let's be honest, but did you ever feel like, I don't want to step into that place or risk? We were talking about risk earlier. So I'm kind of curious, did you ever have a moment of, I'm not able to do this, or I'm going to use a word, I think you are, but not worthy enough to create something new because there's so many established things. I'm kind of curious about that. But then what advice would you give to somebody who is thinking about, creating something for themselves when they have that feeling?
I think make sure you've got your why. If you know why you're doing something, everything else becomes a lot easier. And we knew our why, didn't we? Our clients and people in this area love the event, but a lot of them are quite far away. So our why was there's plenty of people wanting to do this sort of thing. Let's bring it to home. But there was definitely moments when we were like, oh my God, what have we done? This is it's so hard. And it's the logistics behind the scene that we were mentioning before, because we had a venue fall through, which meant that we had to reapply to the council because people forget you have to do things like that. Like we had to put in a temporary event notice to be able to be playing live music and having an alcohol being sold at a venue that wouldn't normally have it. So the venue fell through. We had to re-put all our paperwork in. We then had to like recontact people because that might have changed logistics of what rooms and things that we had available. And you have to inform your insurance company, and the whole thing's a big snowball. And this was this was literally this time last year with it then being held in July. And it was that very serious conversation of, are we bumping this a year because we want to do it properly? Or are we just going to steamroller in because we have such a passion for it and we think we can do it? Are we just going to go for it? So that was a bit of a squeaky bum moment.
Speaking of, yes.
But also, I think because we attend loads of these events, we love going to fitness events, trying everything. Oh, I love that. I didn't like that, but it's fine. That's why you're there, just to try different fitness showcases. And actually, because of the industry we work, our aim is to go to these events and take some ideas and, oh, can we bring that to Empower? Would that work with our clients? So I think when it came to the word festival, up where we live around here, northwest, we've not seen one yet. Everything is indoors. Either the IFS that you've got, which is huge, or you've got the other ones. Everything is indoors. So we did one down near Wolverhampton, and it was outdoors. And we thought, right, that's the feel. That's what we want to bring in the area where we are, where there's fitness, but it's outside, if possible. And we're trying to connect the music, fitness, and the kind of leisure, like just chilling on a chair and listen to the music. And oh, I might do that class next. So I think that's what made it a bit different. We didn't want to just copy another event that happens 10 miles down the road. We wanted something that people are going to go, oh, I've not heard that around here. I might try it.
Yeah,
And I think because it was different, that then it didn't feel like we were in competition with any of the amazing other events that are already on. And actually, a lot of the organisers, presenters, people that run those other events are involved in ours. Like we invite them to present and, even batting ideas, but which ticket site are you using for sales? And we've said, oh, this one, and this is why we use it. And actually, that's one thing I've loved about it, is I've never for a minute felt any animosity of, oh, they've created another fitness event, another one. Actually, everyone's got really on board. They've been really supportive and involved themselves in it, and it's made us feel like a even bigger part of the sort of the wider industry around us. That's been amazing, I think, anyway, those connections.
I think that comes as would come as a surprise to some people, that actually in presenting and events and it's there's a lot of collaboration and building one another up. I think perhaps historically, well, that wasn't always the case, but I think people recognize if you're doing something unique and you're doing it well, they'll go to that and they'll also come to that one.
Yeah.
And you don't have to deliberately, like you say, you can use some of the things that you just love from other people's events or whatever, but you make it your own. And I think the fact that it's fitness and festival, those words conjure up so much to me. I'm just wondering where you'll take it global. So what I want to do is, obviously you're my friend, so I know you well, but I don't know the answers to these questions. So who is the more stubborn one when it comes to business decisions? We've heard who's the control freak. Don't worry. They're your words, Holly, not mine, by the way. I've never seen it. But is one of you a bit more stubborn? Put your feet in. Oh, if anyone's listening, Holly is subtly pointing towards Endrit. Right. And how do you tackle that then, you two?
I think I mentioned it earlier. Our job is to challenge each other. And I think one good thing that we have as business partners and couples is when somebody has an idea, the other one doesn't get excited and just runs with it, because that's very dangerous. If, let's say, I wake up one day and I say, we need 20 bikes, and Holly goes, yeah, we do. So we always kind of question and challenge each other. Well, why? Why do we need that for? Do we need it now? Do we need it in a few months? So I think that's kind of it's been good. As much as there's arguments and fallouts, in the end, the bigger picture is okay. Yeah, I see why.
Yeah.
Do you think that actually having a business and running, businesses together, that actually in some ways that helps your relationship because you just have to tackle like things together?
Yeah,
I feel like
I think it has.
this is bordering on me doing a group therapy session, just to be very clear. I'm not. I'm just really intrigued. I think that, I'm always amazed by people who can work together. So I'm kind of curious, does it actually bolster your relationship? Because you just got to you've got to just get on with things. What are your thoughts, you two?
Yeah, I think what it does do really well is make you realise the important things. So we'll bicker about little random things like who's not charged the iPad, but they're so low level, and I don't know. There's that little bickering that's required actually. And if I ever hear a couple that are like, we never argue, we get on all the time, I'm like, well, either you're lying or you're weird. Like, that's not normal. So we have a very healthy relationship. We do challenge each other. There are bickerings, there are arguments. But because we understand that, actually what is important in our life, we can sort of level things. That business decision is a really big one. This is worth arguing about because this is actually something really major. And it does make you then realise that the little, like, whose turn is it to put the dishwasher on or whatever. They're not major things really. And we just sort of muddle our way through all that, don't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like a good argument every now and then though. It's good.
And also when you've built something from nothing, like that Empower and Lancashire Fitness Festival, when you've literally, it was just an idea, now it's an actual business. I think having someone to push through, because it's hard. I've got a lot of time and respect for people who do solo business, because when they have all those doubts and all those questions and they're not sure about something, you can't really go and talk to your staff because you just want to look brave and you want to look like you know everything and you know what you're doing. And sometimes you don't know if it's going to work. So I think with those, I think that's why I like the fact that I've got an idea, it might not work, and you might say, well, just try it. So I think that's a super strength.
Yeah,
That's
no,
something that
absolutely.
Endrit kind of is the one that's kind of brought that out in me, because I think, Teresa, I'm a bit more like you. I like everything to be controlled. I like a spreadsheet for things. I like to know that things are going to be organised and will work, and would probably then do things late, because I've overthought it a little bit and then sort of late to the party with things. Somebody's already done it. Whereas Endrit will say, like, what is the worst that can happen though? Like, if you give this a go and it doesn't work, what actually happens?
Go to my mum and dad's.
You go to his mum and dad's, yeah.
With his motorbike. I think the thing
It's
is,
that, isn't it?
if identity is so wrapped up in what you do, almost like people almost put too much on that. When you live authentically, which you said very, very early on, you can make mistakes. Failures are really healthy, right? All of those things are truly healthy. I think when you feel that reputation's at risk, it's that's quite hard, because if something doesn't work, then you feel that it's a reflection on you. And actually, it's not. It might have been economics. It may have been a whole load of things. It may be that you didn't have something to bounce off one another. So I think what I'm hearing you saying is, I've heard the word from you, Andrew, a couple of times, is be brave, but also it's being real and running past things past people. And that's the thing. You're right. Some business owners probably don't have that sounding board, do they?
No.
I have
Or,
business
or they,
advisors
they
and
don't. Yeah, they
trusted
don't have it like
friends.
safely. So that's what your staff are for, really, if you work for a business. But you would feel like Endrit said, if you were constantly bouncing these fears or insecurities or thoughts off your staff, what you're afraid of is that they think you are fearful and insecure and not brave. And actually, you're not, because you're just trying to talk it out. But we've got each other for that. And then what's really nice is that then the face that we can put out into the wider profession is, we are now brave, we are secure, these are the decisions that we've made because we've already had this between us.
Yes. So everybody around you will pick up on that, won't they? Because they'll feel there's confidence in your decisions and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm getting the fact that there are something, I know you can do it all, both of you, but I imagine there are some roles that you've naturally sort of, slipped into, as it were. Right. Imagine we change your roles over, right? So Endrit, you're doing Holly's work and stuff, and Holly, you're doing Endrit's work. How quickly would it go wrong, do you think?
1 week.
Immediately. Immediately.
Immediately.
I don't think it's an interesting one because, again, because we're a small business, we don't have titles and roles. We just kind of step into those. That is doing, and then, well, I'll do it. Or I'm good at that. And I think we've kind of chosen what we like to do. And because it's interesting, if you went to a big company and you said to your staff, what would you like to do? And they'll say, well, I'm very good at this. And hopefully they would be very happy to turn up to work and do what they love doing. And then someone else might say, well, actually, I'm good at marketing. Can I jump over and do marketing? So I feel our roles are very flexy. And
Yeah.
today, Holly might say, I'm going to do some marketing. She's good at it. She's quick at it. So there's no point me stepping into that. So I might sort all the payments out, which Holly probably doesn't know what we pay. And
No, I'm like obliviously unaware. It's amazing. And Endrit's very, very good with that, like a bit more analytical and sorting out payments, like really boring jobs like sorting out your gas bill. Oh, so boring. But like Endrit's really good at like knowing when things are due, finding us good deals on things. And I'm just like, oh, I just want to teach a class.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
I don't want to do too much adulting. So I'm quite thrilled really because Endrit does quite a lot of adulting.
Okay. All right. What do you admire in each other the most?
it's a big question.
Big question. I think I'm going to stick with what I already said. I do think Endrit is brave. I think he takes risks and therefore encourages me to. But he's not scared to give something a go. Like I think that's very admirable in somebody. And it's not. He's just not just doing crazy things like out of control. But if he has an idea and he thinks it's a good one and that it can work, he will just go for it.
And Endri, what do you admire most in Holly?
I think looking back into working in the industry, I think Holly's very good at delivering classes, and goes back to you said about being qualified, do your degree, your masters, and which probably at some point you might even do more education and more masters and whatever is next. But I think the most important thing is to be able to connect. It doesn't matter how knowledgeable you are, is to be able to connect. And I think when it comes to Group X, even one-to-ones, but especially Group X, I think Holly can connect with the audience, whoever's in the room. It doesn't matter if it's someone who is 60 years old or someone who is 20 years old. They've got different fitness needs. I think Holly can deliver the class so both those type of people can leave and have the best session ever. So is that, I think that's a super strength. And again, it shows why people travel nearly an hour to come and do Holly's classes.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so Holly said she admires that you're brave. So what could you suggest to people to find that bravery? How, if someone's not brave or they're scared to do something, what's your advice for the brave side of things?
Yeah, I think if you were to fast forward a few years, let's say 20, 30 years, probably you'll have regrets. And you'll think, if I'd have done this, if I'd have done that. So I will definitely try and put myself out there. And when I say take risks, hopefully you'll have some good family around, your friends, who, if something goes wrong, they're there to just pick you up and just kind of believe in you. Because I feel most people worry too much about, well, if I fail, what they're gonna say, what they're gonna think. And I think looking at social media nowadays, people, they're waiting for you to fail. They want to be able to say, oh, look at that person, tried to do that, it didn't work. How silly was that? Whereas if you care less, well, the first thing might not work, the second thing might not work, but the third thing might work. And when I say work, like we've said this, we're not here to make millions. It's just I can turn up and do something that I love, and that gives me enough for me to just get on with my life. And I think that's more important than working for a big company that, yes, they pay well, but they control your life. You have to be there a certain time. You have to leave there a certain time. So the bravery for me is gives us freedom to do what we want, when we want. And listen, working for yourself is hard. There's not so many hours. You have to do as many hours as it takes. But in the end, it's worth it when something works out and And like I said, the reason why we love Empower because it was a nothing, it was just an idea, and now it's a thing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Connection then, Holly. That's what Endry admires most in what you're able to do. So what's your sort of, I was going to say short-term success for someone listening to be able to connect the most? Have you got any sort of top tips?
I think it's almost like flipping it and thinking, right, these people in the room, what do they need me to do and to say? So knowing your choreography or whatever, that's just like the basic, knowing what your class is. But I've been to classes before where maybe the instructor was really in their head about the choreography. You could see them painfully trying to get everything right, at the detriment then of just telling people what it is they're supposed to be doing. And I think one thing that I'm good at, and I think maybe some people just are naturally or maybe not, is looking around and assessing which version of you those people need. Are you going to be jokey and casual and loud, or are you going to be serious and give technical terminology? And like, how are you going to speak to people? Do I need to do a bit of a mix of both of those? But I think just pair it right the way back. People just need to come to a class. You need to tell them what they can expect. So set their expectations in the beginning. Tell them in really basic terms how to move from A to B. So don't overcomplicate what you're doing, and explain the journey. So if the next bit of the session is supposed to be a cardio peak or a really intense section, tell them that's what's coming and give them permission to be really flipping tired by the end of it, so that they're not worried that they're 15 minutes in of a 45-minute class thinking, I can't handle this, I'm going to have to leave because it's too much. Whereas if you, as the presenter, as the instructor, as the coach, has said, this bit is hard, let it feel hard because afterwards we're going to do a recovery phase. So
Absolutely.
it's just pairing it back, tell people what to expect in the session so that they're on board with you. And
Yeah.
also sometimes I say, put your hand up if what we're doing isn't suitable for you, and I'll come and give you something different.
Perfect. Yes.
Just that.
It's create again, I'm using that word culture again, but it's giving permission to for people to yeah, say if they need something different. But if you manage expectations, there's no surprises along the way because otherwise people are fearful. Like, this is what's going to happen to you and go for it in these moments. I think that is the most helpful bit of advice. A lot of the time for presenters, I think they feel they've got to keep all the surprises because then their choreography is not going to sparkle in the right way or their delivery is not going to sparkle. But you can tell people what the hell they're going to experience and then sparkle. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
sparkle doesn't affect people, does it, if they're scared? They're going, but I don't know. Should I be feeling this? And you're, as a presenter, going, hey, look at me. This is great. And they're going, it's not great because I don't know what I'm dealing with. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
really good advice. I have one more question for you both. The one bit of thing that I think is always very helpful is about giving some advice. I'd like both of you to give some advice on the idea of growing something special. Because you've done that in your gym and you've done that in the fitness festival. So let's start with you, Holly. How can you advise someone to start growing something special? It might be different to what you've achieved, but how do they do that?
I think it starts with that little nugget of an idea. And then maybe this is just the control freak side of me. It's get your ducks in a row around that idea. Because for me, for something to grow and expand and to be credible or to be just fun, exciting, whatever it is, it has to also be solid. The core of it has to be solid. So don't run too quickly. Don't have an idea and then be like, everyone, I had this great idea. Because actually, what you might find is that the idea has to change a little bit when you start looking at the logistics of how the idea might work. So
Mm,
for me, it'd be that have this wonderful idea, then just look at some of the really boring logical aspects around it and make sure it's watertight before you explode it out to people.
love that. Great. Endrit, how would you advise somebody to grow something special?
I think the industry we work is for our customers, our clients, and I think we're very good at understanding our clients. I see lots of other small gyms or bigger gyms where they try and do everything. So they're trying to be a CrossFit, High Rocks, Group X, personal training, running club, because they're trying to get as many people as they can. And all they're doing is they're just watering down each of those sections. And I think when I look at our kind of setup, we are very good at Group X, where somebody who's not exercised for 2 years can come and do a class, and in the same class, somebody who trains every day can both get out what they need. So I think picking your lane, being good at that, and just stick to that. And if you do a good job, I think one of my clients came here from Crowwood, which is the best gym here, that they pay £150 a month. So he came here for a PT, and I said, "How come you've come here?" He said, "Oh, a friend of mine told me about this place." So I said, "Okay, that's interesting." And all it is word of mouth. We don't spend money on marketing as such, flyers or Facebook ads. It's a word of mouth. So if you're good at what you do and you stick in your lane and keep giving the quality, I think I'll tell my friend will tell the sister will tell the boyfriend. So I think 4 years later, we have a good base, and it goes back to the old marketing style, word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah. But interesting that you asked that person. You actually asked them so you
Yeah,
could find out.
I
And
was
you're even,
surprised.
yeah, right. And it's not because you're taking it for granted. You're still wanting to learn and to find out. And what a lovely surprise, right? To
Yeah.
have that information given to you and you go, yeah, I am rather good actually. So is there anything that we haven't spoken about that seeming this is about insights on, growing amazing things, whether it's gyms, events, and as working as partners together. Is there anything really obvious that we've missed that you'd like to say as a final wrap up, Holly?
I think maybe for me, it's especially organising the fitness festival, it's realising that actually the more you get involved with everybody else's things, the more success and happiness you'll have in your own. And I feel like maybe not necessarily in the fitness industry because we're quite social, aren't we? But in any industry, if you try and be a little island and you create something, whether it's a business or an event or and you think, oh, I don't really need to involve anybody else because this is my idea and I'm very firm with what I want to do, I think you're going to have a reduced amount of success. And I think one thing that I've this year, since actually launching the Lancashire Fitness Festival, I've been to more events than I've ever been to before because now I think I value them more and more. Like going and, like magpieing some ideas or just networking, socializing, meeting up with people and other people being able to share your joy in what you're doing. And some of the contacts I've created this year because I've chatted to such a body and then they've said, you need to speak to this person because you two would really get on and I think you need to chat about X, Y, and Z. It, like you were saying with the word of mouth, with how successful your business would be, I think in no matter what industry you're in, go to the CPD days, go to other people's events, message them afterwards and tell them how much you've enjoyed it. Like just be part of the wider narrative because it brings you so much joy. I don't achieve anything from doing that. I don't gain anything. It's not about that, but I get a lot of joy from going to somebody else's things and then sort of giving them a little pat on the back and saying, I really enjoyed that
Right.
aspect of what you did.
But what you do so well, Holly, in your networking, and I see it, is you're so genuine about that. That's not, it doesn't, I think you are naturally good at that. And it
Mm.
helps your business, right? I think there are some people that perhaps aren't, and they perhaps need to. The problem is you don't want it to look too calculated, do you? And
No.
it's like you're almost overdoing it. But I think you're naturally good at that, and I think that's over years of working in the industry. And the words that Endry admired in you most was connection. And you can do that not just in a class, but you're thinking about that in a grander scheme. And so yeah, that works well for you. Entry, have you got any last words you'd like to share on advice and the gym
Yeah,
events?
I think the industry we work and we love is it's about the customer. I think, and I try and say that to other people who are personal trainers, gym instructors, or presenters. Um, they go on the stage and it's like, look at me, I look amazing, I've got a six pack, and I think no. It's for those people who come to your class, and those people who come to watch you. You've got to make them feel special. It's not about you being the main character. And I think going back to all the awards that Holly's won, Empower being successful, Lancashire Fitness Festival being successful, is because those people, they want to be part of this because they want to feel special, and it's for them. Everything we do, all the class timetables, all the new equipment, all the new paint on the wall, is for when they walk in, they feel like it's all about me. And I think we're here to help them, we're here to support them, we're here to give them our time. And I think the quicker the instructors realize that it's less about you as an instructor, more about who's in front of you, you'll have a better chance that they'll come back and they'll follow you. So that's my advice.
Yeah, love that. Thank you both for sharing insights into your relationship. I've learned things about you. Thank you. Thank you for, always being, like I said to you earlier, Holly, about the connection. You are natural connectors in the industry, both of you. You do it so effortlessly, but it's, not only is it done well for you and your success, but you have to remember how that's also helped others. You do it so well. So I'm grateful very much to you, and the many hours we've spent dancing together at events, which
More to come, more dancing.
more
Dancing.
dancing to come. But again, congratulations on what you're achieving. Obviously, at the bottom of this and on the podcast, we'll put a link to the festival and to your gym. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who's tuned into this and listened to this. Please follow these guys. They're doing a marvelous thing. And why not rock up to that most amazing fitness festival? If you can't make it this year, definitely get onto it next year. Any last words from you, Holly Endrit?
No, I think I'm happy with everything we've covered. I'm good.
Good.
Yes.
Should we do a
Thanks for
cheese?
having us.
Yeah,
That's
I've
fine. Should we
enjoyed
do
it.
a cheesy wave?
Cheesy wave. Like robots.
We're like robots. Hello. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.